Hey everybody, it's Brad Montgomery. Welcome to my podcast. It's called Successful, Interesting, and Awesome, and we talk about ideas and people, and sometimes two people, about everything that is successful, interesting, and awesome. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad you're here. Hey everybody, Brad Montgomery. Welcome to the podcast. Today we're talking about two conflicting stories. Two opposite stories about customer experience. One of them is awesome, and the other one is Chase Bank. Now, stay tuned because I'm going to ask you your opinion on something. I want you to tell me if you think I should have named the employee at Chase Bank who was so horrendous. But let's start first with the good experience. I went to the doctor's office, got a routine blood draw, part of a checkup. I'm fine. And because I'm a magician, I'm often playing with little objects. And as I was waiting for the lab experience, I was playing with a poker chip, practicing sleight of hand, and having a good. That was cool. Having a good time. As I was leaving the office, I realized, dang it, I lost my poker chip. Well, this kid behind the desk decided to help me. No, he didn't lose my poker chip. His job is not to care about my poker chip. It's not his problem. And I was a little embarrassed, but he came out and helped me. He ended up, check this out, he ended up putting on surgical gloves, digging through the medical waste trash can. I think there's just Band-Aids in it, but still, in the blood draw room, and he found my poker chip, and he came out, and I was like wildly appreciative, which I think he liked. And I was a little embarrassed, but both of us got a little bump of happiness. And isn't this the kind of guy you want working for your team? Again, the problem was not his, it was mine. The office didn't cause that problem. I did. And it wasn't a big deal. Poker chips nearly worthless, but it had some value to me. We love that guy. Now let's talk about Chase. I'm going to shorten a long story, and it goes like this. My dad almost got ripped off through elder fraud. Someone almost convinced him to empty his account. Because I am his medical power of attorney, and because he's dealing with some cognitive decline, the best answer was to hide his money by opening a new account in a new bank that my dad didn't know about. So I opened it at my bank, Chase. And I had a really good experience with a guy named Darren Woon. Darren's the hero of the story. And we got the account open for my dad, and everything's good. But I reminded Darren, please do not send any emails to my dad, because this is a hidden bank account. We don't want him to know his account is here. That's what got us in trouble with the other bank. No problem. Well, through no mistake of Darren Woon's, a glitch in the system, or it wasn't on purpose. Sure enough, my dad gets a welcome email from Chase Bank. That's the opposite of what I wanted. That caused a lot of conflict between my dad and I. I fixed it, but it wasn't easy, and all of this had an emotional weight to it because, one, I'm kind of grieving the fact that I'm having to take care of my dad's finances. My dad's been a hero to me forever, and I don't like this. Plus, there was enough money involved. It wasn't like we were dealing with a transaction at Target. It was a big deal. Well, I called the bank the next day to say, hey, Dad's getting emails. Could you cut it out? Could you fix that? And my guy, Darren Woon, wasn't there, so they escalated me to the branch manager. That sounds good, right, manager? No. This manager passed the buck. Well, let me transfer you to the 800 number where they deal with emails. And I begged him not to because I knew, because I'm the power of attorney, the account is not in my name. It was going to be too complex for this undertrained call center. And that's exactly what happened. I got transferred. It's a long story, but they could not or would not help me. And I knew that was the case. And so I leave without any relief. I leave the call center. I call back my personal branch. I'm your personal banker. I'm your branch manager. And I explained, as predicted, that did not work. Because this is a problem that your bank introduced, could you help me solve it? Because the 800 number is not going to do it. And he said, relying on the same phrasing as the 800 number, I'm sorry, that's our policy. So I lost it. I'm not proud of what happened next. I yelled, I cursed, and I threatened to pull my money. Because my business account is there, we have a high balance. We have our personal accounts are there, credit cards, our mortgages at Chase. And I said, fine, we're going to pull it all. And I was angry. Not my proudest moment. And he said, sorry, that's our policy. I kind of hoped he might have called and later that day and apologized or said, I think I found a way to work on this, or I know someone to call or whatever. But nothing from him. The next day, I call my guy back, Darren Moon, assuming he would have heard from his branch manager, dude, I got an earful from this guy named Brad. No. Darren Moon fixed it. But that whole interaction proved to me, the interaction with a branch manager proved to me, with the massive exception of this one individual, Darren Moon, Chase doesn't care about me. Even though I feel like there's a lot of money in that bank, they don't. And the branch manager has no reason to care about me or my business. He definitely didn't care about my problem, and he refused to accept my problem. Remember the poker chip guy who fixed my problem even though it wasn't his fault or his problem or whatever? This guy's the opposite. This was a problem created by Chase. He was unwilling to care. There's an unhappy customer threatening to leave, and he didn't. Well, what is the message here? If you are part of an organization whose culture is that nobody cares, whose culture is that it's okay to say, that's our policy, you got a problem. If you're part of an organization where your customer service mission statement goes like this, let's get customers like Brad in the door and know that it's such a headache to change to a different competing bank, they probably won't leave, just as Brad didn't leave. He threatened to, but he didn't. If that's your customer service strategy, well, you have a massive problem, don't you? If you're choosing how you want to live your life, be the poker chip guy. Besides being good for business, this concept of being of service to others, just assuming every problem is your problem. If you can help, you're going to do it. Not only is it good for your career, not only is it good for your organization, but there's a hidden and awesome benefit. It's good for us personally. Allow me to explain. The kid with the poker chip, I know, got a boost of joy. He found the poker chip and he was excited. I was thrilled and I'm fawning over him. And I, both of us left happy. Whereas the branch manager who chose to just blow me off, and then I yelled at him again. I'm embarrassed by that. He didn't end that experience with a boost of joy, did he? No, of course not. But had he said, I can help, and I would have said, I know it's not your fault, but if you could help, that would be so great. He would have, theoretically, according to science, gotten a boost of dopamine and serotonin. We would have solved the problem together. He would have had a very happy customer, and I would have made him happy. It would have given him more meaning and purpose in his job. Theoretically, he would have enjoyed his job more that day. But he didn't. All right, now I got a massive question for you. You've heard my story. Do you think I should have named the guy who was a branch manager at Chase? Because here's that story. I made this video 2 months ago, but I named that guy's, I named him and I tore him up, right? I just, this is not a complimentary story if you're that branch manager. That guy really honestly needs to be fired as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't want him in my organization. But I didn't name him because I've been feeling bad about it. I don't know what my job is. I'd just be telling the truth, but I don't know. What would you have me do? If it were you, would you name that branch manager? Now, Chase, I'm going to talk to you just for a second. Call me. This is what I do. I teach people in organizations like yours to care about the people side of business. I get them to understand the science behind being a person who is constantly of service versus a person who just gets by doing the very least possible and passing them on to the 800 desk and whatever. I help. This is what I do. I talk about, the people side of performance. This is what your branch manager missed. All right, in the comments below, I'm serious, Chase. Call me. I can help. First person you ought to invite to my presentations, that branch manager. First, let me know if you think I should have named the branch manager. I'm very curious about that, and tell me why or why not. And second, if you have an organization where you want to make sure your people care about the people in front of them in a way that not only serves your people and your customers, but your organization, that's what I do. Give me a call. Thanks, everybody. I can't wait to read your comments.